Good afternoon, everybody. I wanted to make a quick video about people that have a hard time going through the spiritual process. Now, it's something that we all have to deal with. I'm sure you guys have heard about the dark night of the soul. I don't know if you guys fully know what it is, so I'll give you a quick rundown. The dark night of the soul is when we stop chasing God and God starts to chase us. And when God does that, in order for us to truly meet God, we have to get rid of all of our insecurities, all of our past judgments, all of our karma. And what happens is grace enters our life. God enters our life through grace. He will have things happen in your life that, without you realizing it, are pushing you closer and closer to your self-realization. Now, from an ego mind standpoint, this can be very dark at times. It can seem like the world is out to get you. People can't talk to you because you just don't have the language to explain to them what's going on. And a lot of people get depressed. Not only that, but the ego self, the psychological mind, who has been playing as us our whole lives, realizes that things are starting to fall apart, and that in due time, this false identity that we've created is going to fall away. And just like we perceive the fear of death, the false ego perceives its own death coming, and it gets very territorial, it gets very upset, and it will try everything in its power to keep us enslaved to the mind, to keep us thinking that we have to listen to that voice in our head. Now, there's a difference between the voice in our head and the voice in our heart. The voice in our heart will always be very peaceful, very still, and usually it'll only tell you things once. It doesn't need to prove to you why you need to do things. It's giving you information to do things so that you prosper. So it doesn't need to beg you to do it. If you don't do it, then that's on us. But the false ego mind, the voice that we have been listening to our whole lives, Christianity speaks of it as the devil, and every religion has a take on this type of energy. The monkey mind, the serpent mind, depending on what religion you're from, I'm sure this is resonating. So the serpent mind will pull out all its aces out of its sleeves, whether that's making you get angry about certain things, or making you fear death, or making you feel depressed, alone, whatever it needs to do to bring you to that state of, I'm not good enough, I need help, it will do. Because once you're in that state, you're disconnecting yourself from your true power, which is your true self. Your true self doesn't ever feel like it needs to do more, or it wishes things were different. Your true self is whole, always will be, always is, and that's who we really are. But the moment we identified with this body and started to take on its fears and its insecurities and its thoughts and all that, we lost that vision of our true self, and now we're reclaiming it. So the more we reclaim it, the more the world will take on more of a bright dimension where everything just seems like it is where it is for a reason, including the things in our life that happen to us. And the more you open up this scope of vision, the more grateful you become, and the more you realize how silly you have been all your life. A lot of Buddhists speak about the experience of just laughing for hours and hours, because it finally clicks in their mind how silly it has been that we have believed our own thoughts and have created all these problems for ourselves, when from a higher self standpoint there are no problems, because the higher self sees everything whole, knows what's coming, knows what's not coming, and therefore it doesn't need to wonder if it's on the right track. And we too have the ability to tap into that. And the only way we're going to tap into that is by finding our peace, by being still. And the more you remain still, the more you meditate, the more you reside in your spiritual heart. The spiritual heart is the center in the middle of your chest, not your heart chakra or your physical heart. This is the part that you typically point to when you talk about yourself. Like, oh, me. You know, when somebody points at you, you say, oh, who, me? You're right here. This is your spiritual heart. That's your center. That's where all the spiritual force is channeling into your body to power your chakras, empower your organs, empower everything. Without that connection, we can't exist. It's kind of like when you plug in your charger to your phone. If you don't keep charging your phone, eventually your phone won't be useful anymore. So the more we learn to charge ourselves through this center, the more battery life, metaphorically, this body will have. And the energy that gives us more battery life is God, or source, or whatever you want to call it. So we need to stop thinking that we're up here and start knowing that we're in here, that this is who we are. And when we open up that doorway, this part will become a tool. It won't be a prison. Right now, we're all up here in a prison, thinking that our mind is so elegantly intellectual because we can plan things out in the future, where from here, there's no planning needed. Everything just happens effortlessly. Like Jesus said, do you think that the flowers wonder when they're going to get rain? No, they don't need to, because they're all functioning from this energy. And this energy takes care of whatever it is in sync with. So the more we become in sync with it, this will might not make sense with this will. So our mind will say, well, why are you doing it like that? Based on past experiences and your insecurities, that's not going to work. But from your heart, it doesn't need to make sense. It will work because it's God's communion entering your life. So never lose hope when you're in a moment of desperation. I know it's tough. I still go through them. It sucks. You feel like the world is falling apart. But just be grateful that you have the compass that is always leading you home, always leading you back to truth. And if you didn't feel so bad, then you would never have the urge to find who you really are. So those moments of desperation and depression are actually pushing you to find your true self. And that is very profound and powerful when you truly see it, because then when those moments happen, you don't just start freaking out. You go within, you take some deep breaths, and you say, okay, what is it that this is trying to point to? Or is there any truth in how I'm seeing this? Or is this just something that my mind has fabricated for me and is telling me this is how it is, when in reality, it might not be that way. Somebody else might look at the same situation and say, that's not what I see this. So therefore, who's true? They're both true, but they're both not true. That's where the mind gets us in trouble. It can't understand how something can be real and fake at the same time. It doesn't understand how life is not real because it's not permanent. Everything with our eyes that we see will never remain the same. But at the same time, it comes from a source that is permanent. So that's something that you need to understand with your heart and be, not know. When you know something, you're locked in, and then anything else that comes your way that is against that, you will discard. But what if it's God bringing you a new piece of information? Because you've grown accustomed to a certain way of thinking, you're going to say, I don't need that. And you're losing vital spiritual vitamins that can help you grow and develop your spiritual muscles so that then you can go out and serve and help the people that need it. So I just want to let you guys all know you're doing a great job. It's all written already. We're all going to get there. So just sit back, relax, have some alone time, enjoy the moment. And when things stress you out, just let them go. Things will work out for you, I promise. Namaste. I hope you guys have a great day. Till next time.